The morning sun barely touched the rooftops when I pulled into my driveway. I had just returned from the night shift at the hospital. Exhausted, body aching, and mind cluttered with the faces of patients I had cared for. All I wanted was to park my car, step inside, and collapse onto my bed. But the second I pressed the button to open my garage, I heard a voice cut through the quiet street. "Excuse me, what do you think you're doing?" I froze for a moment, hand still on the remote. Standing there on the sidewalk was her. Karen, the self-appointed queen of HOA, the woman who seemed to believe the neighborhood belonged to her. I sighed, already too tired for a confrontation. "I'm just parking in my garage." Karen's eyes narrowed like I had confessed to some crime. She took out her phone and said in the most dramatic voice possible, "That's it. I'm calling 911. I blinked, stunned. "You're... what? Why?" She crossed her arms. "Because this neighborhood has rules. And you people think you can just break them whenever you want. Parking at odd hours. Using the garage for storage. It's all suspicious activity. I'm not letting you drag down the value of our homes. You people." That phrase hit me harder than it should have. My family had moved here from a different part of town just 6 months ago. We were the only immigrant family in this pristine, cookie-cutter neighborhood. And from the very first week, Karen had made it her mission to make us feel unwelcome. My heart pounded. I could already imagine the flashing lights, the neighbors peeking through their blinds, the humiliation. All because I dared open my garage after work. But before I could protest, she dialed. "Yes, I'd like to report suspicious activity," she said loudly, making sure I, and everyone within earshot, could hear. "Yes, right now. A man is lurking in a garage. Yes, I feel threatened." Her words sliced through me. Threatened. I was a nurse, for God's sake. I had just spent 12 hours saving lives, and now, here I was, being painted as a criminal for simply coming home. Within minutes, I heard the distant wail of sirens. My chest tightened. I thought of my little sister inside, still asleep before school, and my mother, who worried enough already. I thought of the stories I'd read, of how quickly things could spiral. The squad car pulled up, red and blue lights bouncing off the houses. 2 officers stepped out, hands resting on their holsters. Karen rushed forward, pointing dramatically. "That's him. That's the man. He's dangerous. He doesn't belong here." I raised my hand slowly, trying to steady my breath. "Officers, I live here. This is my house. I'm just parking my car after work." One of the officers glanced at Karen, then back at me. "Sir, we got a call about suspicious activity. Can you show us some ID?" My voice trembled, not from guilt, but from fear of being misunderstood. "Of course. My wallet's in my car." As I reached in slowly, Karen kept ranting. "Check the garage. I bet he's hiding something. People like him." The officer held up a hand to silence her. For a second, silence blanketed the street, except for the hum of the engine and my racing heartbeat. I handed over my ID. The officer studied it, then looked at the house. "This is your address?" "Yes," I said firmly. "This is my home. I've worked every hour God gives me to afford this place. I shouldn't have to prove I belong here." Karen scoffed. "Oh, please. You expect us to believe." The second officer turned to her sharply. "Ma'am, do you realize what happens when you make false emergency calls? Do you understand how dangerous your accusations could be?" Her smugness faltered, but she tried to recover. "I was just protecting the neighborhood. Someone has to." The first officer handed back my ID. His tone softened. "I'm sorry, sir. It seems like this was a misunderstanding." But it wasn't a misunderstanding. It was humiliation, plain and sharp. My neighbors had peeked out by then, curious eyes watching as if I were some kind of spectacle. No one came forward. No one said, "He belongs here. He's our neighbor." When the officers finally left, Karen stood there, arms crossed, still glaring as if she had won something. That night, I sat with my mother at the kitchen table. She looked at me with tired eyes. Son, maybe we made a mistake moving here. Maybe we don't belong. Her words pierced me. No, Mama, we do belong. That's exactly what people like her want us to believe, that we're outsiders, intruders. But we worked for this house. We earned it. And no one has the right to take that from us. The next day, I decided I wouldn't stay silent anymore. I filed a formal complaint with the HOA board about Karen's harassment. I gathered proof, texts she had sent, photos she had taken of my family without consent, even notes she had left on our door telling us our kind should move. At the next HOA meeting, I stood up in front of everyone. My voice shook at first, but then strength carried it. Last night, Karen called 911 because I opened my garage after work. She said I was suspicious. She said I didn't belong here. But I do belong here. My family belongs here. We're not second-class citizens in our own country. We're not intruders. We are your neighbors. The room fell silent. Faces shifted uncomfortably. For the first time, I saw cracks in Karen's armor. She risked my life by making that false call, I continued. What if the officers hadn't listened? What if things had gone differently? Would you all just stand by? Because silence makes you complicit. One by one, people began nodding. A neighbor stood. He's right. We've all seen how Karen treats them. It's not fair. Another added, this isn't the community I want to live in. We need to do better. Karen tried to defend herself, her voice rising. I was just protecting us. But no one clapped for her this time. Instead, the HOA president cleared his throat. Karen, your actions were unacceptable. This board will be reviewing your conduct. For the first time since we moved in, I felt seen. I felt like maybe, just maybe, change was possible. Walking out of that meeting, my mother squeezed my hand. I'm proud of you, she whispered. I smiled faintly. We don't run, Mama. Not anymore. This is our home. Weeks later, Karen's power began to crumble. Fewer people listened to her complaints. The board voted to fine her for misuse of HOA authority and harassment. She avoided us after that, her glares empty compared to the weight of her defeat. But the memory of that night, the flashing lights, the fear in my chest, still stayed with me. And maybe it always will. Yet it also reminded me of something greater. That sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do isn't to fight with anger, but to stand tall with truth. And so now, every time I press the button to open my garage, I do it with my head high. Because no one, not Karen, not anyone, gets to tell me where I belong.